Hi there. Can you see me?
Hey,
Okay.
I see you. Okay, so there's Donna McGrath. So everybody was waiting for this one, Miracles of Total Bottle Healing. And take it away, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. I'm sorry I couldn't get the connection quite
That's
good on
okay.
my.
There you are.
Okay, so reporting in from Las Vegas, where they wouldn't give
Uh,
me my room key. Okay, so anyway, okay, so here I am, and okay, so instead of playing the video or doing the presentation that I normally do, which is the slide presentation, I'm just going to talk, and I'm sure, Mark, you've already given me the introduction.
yes,
Um, okay, so I'll just go over that really quickly, and then we'll get into doing some work and some readings here today. Okay,
great.
all right, okay. So in 1980, I worked at the NIH. I worked when I first got to the NIH and started working. I worked and shared a lab with Candace Pert, which probably most of you are familiar with Candace. She wrote the book Molecules of Emotion. Anyway, we shared a lab together until our new labs were being built at the clinical center. And I worked with in the Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. And basically, our group found a cure for sickle cell anemia in molecular biology techniques. And I did most of the work, but anyway, so we were subsequently invited to the White House with Ronald Reagan, and the career was great. After that happened, we published 3 papers in the New England Journal of Medicine and Time Magazine, Newsweek, the Wall Street Journal. They basically said the research was the first time that molecular biology came to the bedside, which is very interesting. So I went on though to do scientific sales, and I sold diagnostic instrumentation with a number of the big pharma companies, with Becton Dickinson and Pharmacia. I sold fast protein liquid chromatography systems, and and then with Becton Dickinson, I was the #1 rep, and I sold scan flow cytometers, which basically are diagnostic instruments to diagnose AIDS and cancer subpopulations in the laboratory. So I had all of New York, New Jersey, and Long Island, and very successful. Anyway, my career was very good. I stayed in scientific sales for about 15 years. And then in 1994, I experienced a number of transformational experiences. My 5-year-old nephew died in a tragic car accident, and then my aunt was brutally murdered. And then 3 months later, my uncle died. And so I had a number of, tragic deaths within a short period of time. And so I went into a depression, and I really went inward. Um, and I didn't know what to do. So I basically turned to meditation. And so I joined a meditation group and went within. And within a couple of short months, I was reading the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. And while I was reading the book at 4 o'clock in the morning, a huge beam of light came down above my head in the living room, and it filled the whole house. And I heard the voice of God, and the light said, "You thought you knew so much: molecular biology, biochemistry, immunology, toxicology, and all these different ologies, and all you know would fit on one grain of sand on this beach." And I saw clairvoyantly a beach which stretched to eternity in front of me, and one piece of sand was taken out and put under my nose. So I was very humbled. But I believe that the light at that time was just not only talking to me, but all scientists and all political leaders, and any professional who really thinks they know so much, the medical profession, et cetera. And so I was told basically that knowledge that you think you have, or the egoic knowledge, is just a speck of sand on a beach. So afterwards, I was wondering where the light was coming from, and I looked behind my left shoulder, and it was coming from the corner of the room. So I looked into the beam of light, and I noticed that it was going out to space, and I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. I want to see what's out there. So soon as I made that intention, I was out of my body, and I saw myself sitting on the couch. My mind, or through my mind's eye, I was looking at myself on the couch. And so the first revelation is that the soul does, or the spirit is outside of the body. And so I was looking at myself on the couch, and I was, I didn't really care about my physical body anymore. I just sort of looked at it like a rag doll kind of thing. And so my mind and my eyesight were in the point of consciousness over my left shoulder. Simultaneously, my spiritual body started coming out of the top of my head like a mist. And so then my mind went with the mist, but at that point it was body, mind, and spirit. I just want to kind of tell you that. And then the mind went with the spirit, and we went out of the body and through the beam of light. So as I was going, and now I'm going to tell you about the cosmic journey. So I went out of the light, out of the tunnel, through the light, through the tunnel, and away from the planet. I went through the magnetic grid of the planet, and I actually kind of went like this and left my spiritual body behind in the planetary field, in the gravitational field, and went through. And then I went to basically what I see as the other side. And so the other side was basically the other side of the magnetic grid of the planet. And that's actually, I found, was the mental realm of the planet, where all high thinkers like Einstein, Mozart, Tesla, all higher thinkers, that information is above the planet, in the magnetic grid of the planet. So I stopped, and I was having this interchange with each one of these molecules, which were all the other people. Okay. And I was told that I could exchange knowledge and exchange love with anyone I wanted there. And so I was having a field day. I was just so happy. I was making myself one with Tesla, Mozart. E equals MC squared was written on the blackness of space. And I talked to Einstein, and also musical symbols and mathematical symbols were downloaded to me at a very, very high level and a very rapid speed. And so I was like a kid in a candy shop. I was just so happy. So, but it didn't really stop there. So after I had that exchange and everything, and I was filled up with knowledge, it's sort of like I turned, and then I just continued going out to space. And I was going very rapidly throughout space. There were billions and billions of stars, like Star Trek. I was going at warp speed, and billions of stars were going past me at a very rapid rate. I went through, I would say, a wormhole or a black hole or something, but and then I took off at warp speed. So I went and went and went, and finally I got to the other end of the wormhole, and I saw the Andromeda Galaxy, and it was in front of me. I didn't know it was the Andromeda Galaxy, by the way, at that point. It was just a beautiful galaxy. And then the light was to my right, and it was huge, and just huge. And I was afraid to look at it at first, but I kind of looked at it a little bit. And then the light said to me, basically it said stop. So I stopped. And as I looked out on the Andromeda Galaxy, the voice of God said, now I will show you everything from Alpha to Omega, from beginning to end. So basically all of the Akashic records and all the information about the Earth's history. So I was instructed to turn my head to the left and to look. And when I did, one piece of DNA started to swirl, and then it turned into a blade of grass, and then it covered the planet, and then the trees grew up, and the rains came down, and fish came from the oceans and migrated onto the land, and man walked upright, and I did see that. And then I was shown, and I was downloaded with the rest of the history of of creation on the planet Earth. So I was given everybody's Akashic records, as well as my own, as well as the planetary history. And everything was fed into my third eye, like a fast forward VCR type of thing. It was very fast. And then at the end, two stars came together and imploded, which would be fusion, and then kind of exploded and went out. I was told that is the action of creation. So it's basically coming together in unity and then going apart to individuate to find out who you really are, and who you really are is love, and then to come back in and the whole thing repeats itself. So the, the unity and then the going apart to find out who you really are, and then coming back again together again. And that's the essence of creation. So then I was asked by the light, do I have any other questions? And usually in near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, the light does ask the person if there's any other questions. And usually the person asks the question in relationship to their life's purpose. So, I've studied hundreds of cases of the near-death experience after I had the light experience. And that's usually the case. People, mothers that go to the other side ask about their children and find out what they're supposed to do for their children, etc. So I asked, did I have any other questions? And I said, yes, I want to know how life was created and what is the cure for all diseases. And so the light sent me another apparition or another vision. So basically, I was shown a circle, and then it was basically cellular division. It was basically mitosis. So a circle, and then it divided into 2, 4, 6, and it divided in the Fibonacci sequence and created the flower of life sacred geometry, which, by the way, I noticed in my room here in Las Vegas that this artwork here is kind of like the flower of life in a certain way. So this piece of artwork is, but anyway, it was right in front of me, and then it was dividing very, very rapidly. So it was mitosis dividing rapidly, and then finally it hit my third eye. And then I went, oh, I had the whole concept. And I said, oh, life is so simple, and they try to make it so complex back on Earth, those scientists. And so anyway, then I was there in the experience, and then I was back in my body. The whole experience took about 4 hours, and it was, when I came back, I was enlightened. I know that because when I was reading the book, The Celestine Prophecy, I read all the insights, and I got to the last chapter. And actually, I've spoken to James Redfield, the author, since then, and he told me that the purpose of the book, of him writing the book, was to ramp up the reader to enlightenment. So by the time you got to the 9th insight in the Celestine Prophecy, it was supposed to ramp you up to enlightenment. And actually, whenever I did read the book, I was analyzing myself. I was analyzing my life's purpose, what I was supposed to learn from my mother, my father. I was working through control drama dynamics, which I had with my husband at the time, and, finding out whether I'm a victor or a victim or a perpetrator or whatever. And I was writing all over the book. And so right before the light came down, I noticed that in my brain, it was sort of like my left and right brain were being triggered at the same time. Like, I know there's a Star Trek episode where Data takes off his brain and all the circuits are flashing, but really it was like that, like both of the circuits or the sides of my brain were flashing, and then they sort of came together. And at that moment when they came together, that was enlightenment. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this in his work, and it is the mystical experience that we want to get to. It is the experience of enlightenment. So when I came back from the experience, I was back on the couch. There were a couple more words I asked in my mind's eye. I asked, how long did that take? I saw a couple more of visual experiences. I saw myself in jail and meditating in jail with a huge aura of golden light above me. And I was shown that I was a prisoner in the bottom of a bamboo pit in Vietnam. And these were like, I don't know what they are, like parts of my soul or flashbacks or whatever. But the voice came and said, and just remember, no matter where you are, even in prison, even, and then the light actually said, even living in the state of New Jersey, which I really never really liked. I'm from Ohio originally. But the light said, no matter where you are, even living in the state of New Jersey, you will always be happy now that you have entered the kingdom of God. And from that moment, I was enlightened. My daughter, so anyway, I was gone for about 4, and I said that the last question was, how long did that take? And the voice came back and said, between 4 hours, 4 seconds, and the twinkling of an eye. And so, you know, I don't usually talk in those terms or that vernacular or whatever. So I thought it was very interesting. Then my daughter, so I was gone from 4 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the morning. My daughter jumped down the stairs and I got her dressed to go to school and she went off. And I literally thanked the corner where the beam of light came from. And I genuflected to the corner for about 3 days. And after that, I was sort of out of my body, above my head, and just basically enlightened and walking around in the Christ consciousness. I saw everything from the Christ consciousness perspective. And the one thing that was noticeable, especially within the first 3 months of my light experience, is that I could see everything that was fear. I could definitely discern between fear and love. And I learned all aspects of fear so that I could learn that the opposite of those was love. And you know, love is the opposite of fear. So, but fear in my definition now is very expansive. And there are thousands of aspects of fear, but in my upcoming emotional healing class, I teach about 40 of these basic 40 emotions that constitute fear and then love, and what is fear and what is love, and then teach you how to do a self-healing technique where you could just sort of analyze yourself, put any kinds of fears that you have in your left hand, and then bring up positive energy in your right hand and just bring it and overlay yourself with the positive energy. And as you do that, you unlayer yourself. You unlayer the fear, you dissolve the fear, and then you do that for a period of time, and you purify yourself. And so you can eventually come to a point of enlightenment. In the Egyptian school of enlightenment, there was the left eye of Horus and the right eye of Horus. The left eye of Horus is really the emotional healing. And the ancient Egyptians used to spend 12 years cleansing their emotional field. And then there's the left eye of Horus. No, the left eye of Horus teaches the right brain, and then the right eye of Horus teaches the left brain. So basically, it's right feeling and right thinking. And so they were trained for 12 years in right thinking and right feeling, and then they were put into the king's chamber and they laid in a sarcophagus, and then the light came through the top of the pyramid and caused the meshing of the left and the right sides of the brain, and then they were taken to enlightenment. So, all right, so all that being said, I had a couple of after effects of the light experience, I guess, but I was walking in unconditional love, so I really didn't speak very much, and I never really said anything that was like sort of a choice, like either, you know, do you want chocolate or vanilla ice cream? I just didn't care whether it was chocolate or vanilla. I had no differentiation or no polarization between the two sides of the brain or the two choices. Everything was sort of in moderation. Like I would say the word interesting. If anybody would come, people started to be attracted to me and pour out all of their problems, and I would just say interesting, interesting, interesting. Other side effects that I had after the light experience were that I didn't have to eat or didn't have to sleep for about 3 or 4 months. I read about 3,000 to 4,000 books on all the religions in the world, all the world religions, all the, you know, the Bible, the Upanishads, the Vedas, the different scriptures from almost every religion, and just really learned all about unconditional love. Subsequently, I didn't have to eat, and then when I chose to eat about 3 or 4 months later, I was so sensitive. I could taste the chemicals on the lettuce, and I could smell the detergent section of ShopRite from the outer parking lot. Okay, so, and I could hear for like a mile. I was so ultra sensitive and just could smell. So I was, there's clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, clear vision, visual imager. There's clairodorance, which is clear smelling, and ultrasensitive. So basically, in psychic terms, each one of your senses are heightened. Okay, so you could smell, hear. I can hear from the other side. I'm very clairaudient. Um,
Well, Donna, I'm gonna
clairsentient.
I'm gonna have Donna. Hey, sweetie, I'm gonna have you here from this side,
Okay,
and so we're gonna move Donna into room number 8. So anybody who would like to go to room number 8, just go down to the breakout room and join Donna. If you're having a problem, just say I'm having a problem and put that in the chat, and we'll send you over there. But we're gonna send you to room 8. Is that okay?
can I have
Vicky?
5 more minutes to just talk about my skills
Well,
that
well,
developed?
well, well. Actually, Nick starts in 3 minutes. Nick
Okay, I can
Delgado.
be really fast, Mark. Okay. All right. So basically, subsequently, I was led to the health food store, and people came through, and I did healings on about 15,000 people as they walked into the health food store. I would channel the substances or the nutritional substances that they needed to have. At the same time, I went and I did the expos, like the New Life Expo and the Whole Life Expos around the country, and I did mostly contact with the deceased. Then after that, I kind of merged all of my skills. I'm a hypnotherapist. I've done IET, SRT, all these different modalities of healing. I'm a Reiki master, etc. But I merged them all into my own healing modality. So now I do miracle healing with people. And so I've done about 60,000 people I've worked with personally since 1994. And I do all kinds of readings and healings at the current time. So that's what I'm doing currently. Okay, so if anybody wants a reading or anybody wants to join me in the psychic healing room, that would be fantastic. So thank you very much, and I will see you over there. Okay, Mark. See, I do stop talking, Mark. I don't know where he is. So I don't know how to get over to the psychic. Hi, Joe. How are you? Joe Blanton. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. Great to hear your story again. Yeah. I'm here in Las Vegas too.
Yeah, I'd love to come over actually. I'm staying in this hotel that's very smoky.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The environment is not really that high of a vibration. So I'd love to come over and see somebody that's vibrating a little higher.
Joe lives in Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe, invite Donna over.
It's beautiful in other areas of the town, but in this hotel where I am, very low vibration.
Okay, so we have to switch Donna to room number 8. And anybody wants to follow Donna to room number 8, go down to the breakout room and you can do it yourself. If you have a problem, go to the chat and we'll just send you there.
Yeah,
and I love
Mark,
you.
I love you too, Mark.